And we're live! It is Wednesday night, everybody, and we're back finally.
It's Wednesday night. It's time to party. Here's your awesome host, Shane Burley.
Down here! I finally got him down here. This is me. Welcome, everybody, to the latest episode of the Crafty Boys. This is episode 70, and we're talking
70?
about... It,
Already?
Wow.
Remember the whole thing last week about...
Oh, yeah. 69, dudes.
Exactly. So we had some low energy last week. It's been a weird summer. We've not had a regular schedule of doing the show, but that's okay because sometimes you got to take a break. By the time we started having to move our schedule around for people's summer stuff, we were already in the 60s of the episode count, which means that we've been doing this show for like a year and a half now. So you got to take a break because we even did it right up until. December, I think, like the 15th or something last year. Yeah, we went pretty strong all the way through. So, but anyway, this week, again, chosen by Dave, a beer that we couldn't
chosen by you, bitch. Oh.
Yeah, I think this was on you, Shane.
There.
No, it is on me. I was just trying to sneak that through because I just like to blame everything on Dave. So, what was I going to say? Anyway, so the beer we're getting is actually from a local, local to me, as in I could leave and come back in less than 20 minutes and have new beer with me. This is Main Street Brewing that I'm talking about. They are located in Vancouver at 7th and So this week, we tried to get this beer here, the Main Street Checkpoint Charlie, but Alan, you weren't able to get it. What did you end up getting? It was also from Main Street.
Yeah, I ended up getting the Main Street Brewing, the Fruit Brawn Kettle Sour. Which
is actually not terrible. That looks great.
Now, what's interesting is I think it might be... I don't know. I don't want to say necessarily because it may not be at all, but it may be very similar to the Checkpoint Charlie in that the Checkpoint Charlie is also a sour, and the 4% alcohol. What's the IBU rating on the Checkpoint Charlie?
15.
Dave, what is the international beer units?
Cool. 15.
15. Okay, so on mine is 10. So I think they're going to be fairly similar. I would expect mine to have a little bit more of a fruity flavor than yours. I think these are both seasonals, and mine actually says on it seasonal series, and I noticed that yours does as well. So
yes.
That could be maybe yours is new and it hasn't made its way down to Victoria yet. We'll see.
Because Victoria is like totally out of the way.
Well, and it was interesting because I had almost considered getting a newly released beer by Phillips Brewery, which is local here, and it was called Bizarro, and it was also a Berliner Weiss. And did I say that right?
Did you burp halfway through that sentence?
No, I didn't.
It sounded like you did on this end. I was like, did you just...
Oh, really? No, I didn't. But excuse me if it sounded like it. So I considered getting that, but I figured if we're going with Main Street Brewing, I better stick with it. So I'll be drinking this tonight.
All right. Well, let's get this baby open because if we don't, the Olympics will start again. So coming in, dun dun belly penis, dun 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 dun.
I've got my steam whistle. Old-fashioned.
Yeah, I don't actually know where that is. I've been trying to find it.
Well, the good news is Beer Fest is coming up, and you can maybe get another one.
All right, now, as we always recommend, most beer that we drink it needs to be in a glass with a very large opening to make sure that you enjoy the aroma. This smells pretty good. All right, I'm gonna pour. Ooh, and it's very light in color. Look at that. All right, Peanut Gallery. There's beer here for you, Peanut Gallery. There you are.
Thank you.
It's a
The
live
peanut
studio audience.
from the live studio audience. Yeah, no, the Peanut Gallery came in before the show started, and looked at the bottle, looked at me, looked at the bottle, and just had this sad face.
And then
And
you
I
rolled up a newspaper.
and I batted its nose. No, but it was actually like what our dogs do, because the dog will, if you one of my pugs, at the beginning of the evening when you're just in bed, uh, wants to cuddle for some reason on the right hand side of my body. I'm not sure why. She just likes it. So I'll get in bed, the lights will be out, you're sort of getting your mode into sleep, and I'll feel this dog walk over my legs, and then she will stand there. And it took me a few months when she started this behavior a few years ago to figure this out. So I turn the light on, and there she is. She's looking at me, straight at my face, and then she looks right down at right beside my right side, and then she looks up again, and did that a few times. So I moved over and kind of rolled on my side, and she was like, doo, 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 boom, plop, right where she wanted to be. And she still does that, even, last night. It's like, why are you know what I want? Come on, I'm looking at it are you that kind of thing. So it was very cute. Anyway, this beer, I gotta say, it smells great.
It
What does
does.
it smell like to you, Dave?
I'm not sure I can describe it.
It just went up my
It-
nose.
It's very different, though. It's like there's some grapefruitness there.
And yeah, it's like grapefruit mixed with like pine. That's what I smell anyway.
Pine now? Yeah,
Now-
I guess-
It's very good. It's light, which I was surprised at.
Well, a Berliner Weiss, and I'm
You
getting
could-
this from.
I couldn't really
Wiki-
tell it's a bottle, right? So
Well, a Berliner Weiss is a cloudy sour white beer that has an ABV of about 3% historically. Now, that one there has a slightly higher ABV. So it's a regional variation of a white beer style from northern Germany, and it dates back to at least the 16th century.
Wow.
That's my Cliff Clavin moment.
your Cliff Clavin moment.
Yeah.
Welcome, everybody. I want you all to know that we are going to be talking about the mail and beer.
What?
I don't know. If
I
there's
don't
a
know
country
why that even made
beer
that made no
seriously as
sense whatsoever.
Germans.
We also have some articles that Alan
Well,
provided.
just a second.
us
I haven't talked about my beer yet.
Right, I forgot. Sorry, you have the other.
Wow.
You got the sour
Yeah,
the cherry bomb. Or
No,
what it's
this
called.
is the fruit bomb. Fruit
Fruit
bomb.
bomb.
Kettle Sour from Main Street Brewing. So when I popped the cap off my bottle, a smell came immediately to me. That actually smelled kind of like burning rubber. I won't say it was pleasant. It really caught me off guard. Actually, I did a double take.
Oh, really?
But that smell dissipated really quickly. Like as quickly as it came over me, it was gone. And I poured it, and it's not the most sour beer that I've ever had, but it is quite good. You can tell it's very light in color.
It looks really similar to ours, hey?
It does.
Like that.
And
That's mine.
I'm thinking that it's maybe almost the same beer.
You think they just tweaked the recipe?
Maybe. It is a sour. It's a very subtle sour, though. It's refreshing. I'll give it that. This is the kind of beer that would be great out on a patio on a Saturday afternoon. Or if you're on vacation and you're staying at home and you sit out on a patio on, say, like a Wednesday or something in the middle of the day, and you're drinking a beer while everybody else is doing the rat race thing, and you can sort of like point and laugh at them while they're doing that. This is the perfect pairing for that. So this is a great sort of like
Then they'll come over.
this
and they'll
beer is perfect for thumbing your nose at
take your
authority.
beer.
Yeah. I thumb my nose at authority, and I'm drinking a Kettle Sour fruit
Which is
bomb.
interesting because this particular one that Shane and I have is quite authoritarian. Like, look at that label.
Yeah.
You don't mess with that.
No. You could get shot.
That's kind of a
That's exactly
terrifying
right.
label in a lot of ways.
It is.
Well,
And I think
Just
that's the
saying.
point, because it is Checkpoint Charlie, and as you guys probably know, Checkpoint Charlie is a pretty famous checkpoint in
No.
Berlin.
There's no history to that name. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Actually, it's funny. I just watched a documentary by Michael Moore the other day called "Where Should We Invade Next?" I think was the title, which came out last year. And basically, he's going around to the U.S. or to the different European countries to essentially invade and take ideas that these countries have about different things: law enforcement, education, health. And one of the things that was part of the documentary, but really wasn't about anything other than history, was or how education is taught in schools. The German schools actually have essentially, I guess it's, again, there wasn't a whole lot of info, but essentially they have classes, or at least a time in the school year, where they acknowledge that Germany screwed up by creating the Holocaust and these sorts of things. And they actually have like this whole thing where basically it's just instilled into the younger generations that this is not a cool idea. This is not something we should repeat. Yeah, there you go. A little bit of history about Checkpoint Charlie. And then at the very end of the documentary, you actually learn that Michael Moore was in Berlin the first few days of people taking hammers to the wall and breaking it down. So Michael Moore was visiting. I think he said he was visiting some friends in Berlin. They were filmmakers together, and they just noticed that there were people with chisels at the wall, and so they got chisels and started chiseling away at the wall for 3 days. So yeah, it was very good. I recommend it.
Wow.
I mean, it's sort of a very subtle documentary compared to his other stuff, but I think it's worth checking out. Anyway, enough about Checkpoint Charlie. Let's talk about a Kettle Sour a little bit. Is there anything that you, aside from the smell, that almost killed you? How is it?
No, like I say, it's actually quite enjoyable. It has a low IBU rating, which is something I would expect. It's only 10. It's very light. Like I said, it's not as sour as other beers I've had. In fact, it's such a lightweight sour flavor. I hesitate to actually even call it a sour. But it does have the sort of like a little bit of tartness to it. So it is a good beer. I'm liking it. And
Cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So before we started the show, Alan and Dave were having a very intense conversation about Oompa Loompas and the color of their clothing. Did you guys want to revisit that a little bit and explain to the audience about why Dave thinks that Oompa Loompas don't wear brown, but do indeed wear purple?
Well, I don't know. I can only suggest that Dave is an idiot.
Oh.
I don't have any scientific proof to prove it. I can only go on anecdotal evidence, of which there are many. I would like to call to the stand Shane Burley. Shane, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, or you won't be able to drink beer for a long time?
Let me tell you that I will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in terms of discussing Dave's life. So let me start by saying that Dave is a douchebag. He is such a terrible person, a human being that's just completely and utterly not worth the oxygen that he consumes on this planet. So you know
Well,
what?
Plus, he...
I was lucky enough to have that on my desk. So anyway, there you go. No, Dave's a cool guy, and he needs a date. So if any eligible females out there happen to be in the Comox Valley area or anywhere on the planet Earth, Dave is needing some love.
Ladies and some gentlemen, Dave is a great catch. He doesn't have he doesn't have a lot of money. So don't expect like anything really rich, like the flowers or going to McDonald's or anything like that.
No.
And you know what? And he doesn't really look all that handsome or even moderately okay.
What do you mean?
But you know what? He's got like this awesome personality. About half the time. So
half the time.
So he's an amazing catch. I highly recommend you.
So Dave, I just got to say one more thing about how amazing you are, since we're raving about you. But I just wanted to ask you a question, Dave.
Yeah.
Does your mother tell you things long when I'm gone? Who are you talking to, Dave?
Oh, that is
that
awesome.
I'm the one?
That is awesome.
It's a great mistake, and I'm wide awake, sir. Which actually,
beautiful.
the reason
You
I brought
get many
that up,
thumbs. Many
it
thumbs.
fit. But who here watched the hip the other night on Saturday?
I did not.
Right. I actually recorded it
Okay.
because I had to go out, but and I haven't watched it yet, but I plan to watch it very soon when I have 3 hours to kill.
Yeah,
I
it
hear
was
it was
amazing.
amazing.
It was like 3 hours and 15, 20 minutes, something like that. Yeah, it was really cool. They did all the sort of big stuff. They did a lot of their new stuff, which was great. But the part that really made me amazed was the online sort of stuff where people were talking about it a lot, especially on Twitter. And so I tweeted out at some point right near the end of the concert because some people were talking about, he's gonna die, blah, blah, blah. And I said, no, we're not. Physically, yeah, he might die, but this is a Canadian that we're going to remember for a long time. And I tweeted out something like, we won't forget about the hip, but we also won't forget about how the simple fact that it seems that Canadians here and abroad are all, like, most people are tuning in, which turns out it was something like, with the exception of people watching on television, via cable services, they were able to track like about 12 million or so Canadians in Canada watching, which is like unheard of in Canada for people watching something, especially on the CBC. And I got into a bit of an argument with some people talking about how, because I said, there's no broadcaster who would ever have done this because there were no commercials. It just went straight through. And the CBC even tweeted it at some point about 2 hours in saying, I know there's not a whole lot of, there's no coverage right now about the Olympics because those are on in Brazil. But, as long as they're on stage and the concert's going, we're going to continue broadcasting it and we'll get back to the Olympics afterwards. And then, I don't know, about 15 minutes after some of this stuff going on, I was retweeted by Margaret Atwood, and that was it. I could have just like, done a minute, happy, done, finished. That Margaret Atwood even knew even for a split nanosecond that I existed.
Wow.
So, but
that's pretty.
But I mean, overall, but the best part was just about how it just seemed that concert and that band were somehow had enough power to bring us all sort of together, at least just for 3 hours. It was kind of cool. So anyway, there you go. That's my experience from last week. Thank you, Margaret.
And I have some friends who are Canadians who don't live in this country anymore. They live abroad now, and based on their Facebook postings, that wherever they were, they dropped whatever they were doing and streamed that concert and watched it for the full, 3 hours and 20 minutes or whatever it
Wow.
was. Um, and that to me speaks volumes, because I mean, if you go and live abroad somewhere, you generally get completely enveloped in their culture and their society, and you might, I mean, you always remain a Canadian, but you're not maybe in touch with everything that's happening here. And with the hip concert, everybody was in touch.
That's true, especially where last week on Saturday night there was in Vancouver they had this mural fest. I think did it happen in Victoria as well? Something tells me they did, but there was basically a festival about street art and things like that. And but the best part about that was they had their final party at the same time going across that red truck across the street. And it's just kind of interesting that the people that were watching the hip were I think myself included, were quite distraught that we had to deal with people that just didn't care, and they weren't Canadians. They weren't Canadian enough. They were
Yeah.
somehow lesser than all of us. But anyway, it was kind of amusing, just the stuff that was going on. So
You know what? In defense of those people, though, I will, and I'm a huge Tragically Hip fan. I've seen them, 3 or 4 times, and great shows. Gord Downey is fantastic. But I will say this: they have not enjoyed this kind of popularity, and wouldn't have enjoyed this kind of popularity if Gord Downey had not come out and made his announcement about his situation. Um, I think if they had just done the tour as a regular tour without announcing that this could be their last, I'm sure their shows would have sold out, but tickets wouldn't have been going for $25,000 a seat on StubHub and all that. You know what I'm saying? They kind of generated their own appeal for this for what's going on right now, and
Yeah.
I think that if they hadn't have made the announcement about Gord Downey, that wouldn't have taken place.
No, probably not.
So is their popularity right now? Is it justified?
oh, it totally is. I think they're just as popular, but I mean you can't ignore the fact that because of Downey's condition and what what he's going through at this stage in his life, it is something to. I would say that there's definitely more tension, yes, because a lot of people would have been like, "Oh, I'll go to the next concert, or I'll go and see them at they'll be touring again in a couple of years." So I think that the inevitability of they may not do another tour. They probably won't, because you never know. So these sorts of things are going to. I think in a year or so we'll figure it out. But I think right now I just like to live in the moment of thinking that the majority of our country is, because it's a Canadian band and because they write songs about Canada a lot of the time. There is something to be said for that, and I don't want to spoil I don't want to ruin my mood about it. So, but again, yeah. I think any band is the same way. I think one of the other things too is that initially, if you didn't know what Downey's condition was, and you got the idea that it was their last tour for whatever reason, I think a lot of us kind of, not me because I knew, but I think a lot of people might have gone, oh well, Cher did that. She said she was having her final farewell tour, and so did Barbra Streisand. They did their
The
final
Eagles,
farewell tours.
the Who.
Eagles, the Who, like all these groups and artists did the same thing. Like, this is it, I'm done, and then they walked away. Just kidding, coming back next year, that kind of thing. So, I mean, hell, what's his face? Peter Sellers, not Peter Sellers.
Peter
Who was
Cetera?
no, who was the lead singer to Genesis?
Oh, Peter Gabriel.
Peter Gabriel. No, after him.
Oh, Phil Collins.
Phil Collins. Yeah, Phil Collins did that a few years ago in like 2011 or 12, because he had some hearing issues, and then he said, "Well, that's it. I'd like to keep my hearing, so I can't tour, and I probably won't record anything because apparently this is what the condition is." Changed his mind, another year later, and then basically went and said, "You know what? I'm remastering everything I've done in my entire solo career." So he's been re-releasing all these albums like Face Value and all this sort of stuff with the remastered music, but him as he is today, but with the same photograph. So it's kind of weird to have these new album covers, and you kind of look at them, because I have like my favorite Phil Collins album ever is No Jacket Required, and it's just I've heard it so many times. It's an album I can put on and just listen to the whole thing straight through. But I have to admit I was a bit shocked when I played it one day, and I didn't know that the remaster had come out, and I just happened to glance at the cover that popped up on Google Music, and it was the new cover. And I'm like, wait a minute, he didn't look that old in the photograph, did he? No, wait, he did this in like 80 whatever, what the hell? And so sure enough, that's when I figured out that this was going on. So, enough about Phil Collins. I don't know what else. I've totally derailed my brain.
Yeah, you do that a lot.
Yeah, well, that's the nature of this show. Let's talk about is it Wisconsin or Michigan?
Minnesota, I think.
Was it Minnesota? I can't remember. Michigan, Minnesota, blah blah blah.
Cormorant, Minnesota.
That's the one. What happened?
Well, a dog was elected mayor, and not for the first time either. Apparently, it's the dog's third term as mayor of Cormorant, Minnesota. The the population there first elected this dog to be their mayor as a write-in vote, and it's still mayor.
I don't know what to say about this other than
I don't know.
It's like the mayor of Reykjavik in 2013, 14, somewhere in there. I can't remember, but it was basically a comedian said, "Hey, I'm going to become the best mayor ever," and he got elected on that platform because a lot of the people that were involved with the whole 2008 banking crisis and whatnot were buddy-buddy with the previous mayor. So he got elected, and he's been elected there, I guess, for a while. But he did it completely as a joke. It was kind of like, remember when the when Schwarzenegger was up for re-election as governor of California, and they had a whole bunch of other people get involved, like porno stars. I think Gary Coleman at one point. Like there was just all these people like, I'm totally gonna run for governor, and they were just doing it because they wanted to protest that what the current government was doing. But that's essentially what happened in Reykjavik. This guy was like, ha ha ha! I'm creating the best party, which is what it's called, and he got elected. So it's basically a big, fuck you to whoever was in power. And
Cool.
when you have a situation like this where a dog gets into office, who was the mayor beforehand? Like, how bad were they? Because it's so strange.
I don't know.
Makes me worry that
there's
Trump actually
no-
has a chance.
Oh, don't say that. Don't say that.
I
Otherwise,
know.
I'm
It's the
going to
stuff of
beat you with
nightmares.
an ultimate pressurized beer growler. Um, I'm not even sure what this. Oh, this is that beer growler that we were wanting to buy a little while ago.
You can win one.
And it was like $400 or something ridiculous.
No, no, no. It wasn't 400. Well, maybe after the exchange rate it would be. No, I believe the growler was about $150 US.
Okay.
And really, for what it does, I don't know if that's necessarily a bad price. It's a beer growler, a regular one, that actually keeps your beer pressurized, and it actually has a tap on it, so you can pour your beer. Um, in theory, if your beer lasts that long, and that's maybe the thing with that's kind of useless with this device is, usually when I get a growler, it's gone in a few hours, which kind of negates the whole purpose of this. But you could fill up your growler, put it in your fridge, and the beer will still be fresh months down the road.
Yeah.
I don't understand why anybody would keep the beer that long. But if you wanted to, well, there you go. It looks beautiful. It's got it comes in stainless steel, and it's got it looks like brass components and a brass handle and brass tap. Um, it looks stunning, actually. And you can win one. I want one too.
I want to be able to walk up to some sort of device in a wall and go, "UKEG, 7 liter, hot,
7
hot,
liter.
cold, cold." What am I saying? Yeah, I'm not filling out the form. I'm totally not filling it out.
So you go to pastemagazine.com, and they have a contest on there where you can win the UKEG, which has just recently been released after going through a Kickstarter campaign that raised more than $1.55 million US. It's made from a company called Growler Works in Portland, and it is a stunning piece of equipment, and I hope that these things make it for sale north of the border at some point, because this thing is absolutely gorgeous, and I want one badly. Hello, Christmas is coming. Yeah.
Don't say that. Jesus, we're not even done our summer yet.
Yeah, I know, but I think people are going to need some time to save up to buy me this thing for Christmas.
I
fair
just
enough.
entered the contest.
Did you?
So, because it is, the article does state entrants are restricted to the United States and Canada. So,
Oh, really?
Oh.
I'm going to enter
Boom.
too. I'm going to enter as well.
Boom. I
All right.
just entered and I'm gonna win. So therefore, in your face, Dave.
What?
I have no idea. I have no idea. It's like, Dave. See, as I said earlier, everything is your fault, even if I pick the beer. And the final article for the week, submitted, of course, again by Alan, which makes him totally, utterly amazing. There's a bike for beer. An app rewards users for an active lifestyle. There's a startup out of South America that is aiming to help my town here, Vancouver, reach its goal by becoming the world's greenest city. But this app apparently will help us do this because basically, if you ride your bike, you get rewards. I guess they're partnering with local companies, including Big Rock Urban Brewery, where 100 bikos will get you a $25 gift certificate, which means you can ride your bike and then buy beer and spoil all of that hard work right away. So,
is it spoiling the hard work, or is it rewarding yourself for the hard work?
$25 worth of beer. What would that be? A growler? 2 growlers?
Probably 2
worth,
growlers.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd be spoiling all that.
If you
hard work.
drank it entirely by yourself, and were like this,
Like what? Where'd you go?
I think he's
You-
trying to illustrate.
So anyway, boys, I went riding my bike today. It was amazing. I rode up the grouse grind, totally doable. And then I rode down the grouse grind, totally doable. And then after that, I rode all the way from here to the ferries out in Sawasan. That's like 400 miles, billion kilometers. And then I came back to downtown, and you know what?
If you manage to do that, if you manage to do all that, you deserve to drink an entire growler all on your own.
Actually, yeah, to that extreme, yeah, going up and down the mountain where
No,
you're
you
not
don't,
supposed
because
to
you
do it.
would die.
Totally
You'd be
doable.
Dehydrated.
You'd be dead by then.
You
then
can't.
add beer on top
Can
of that.
you technically ride up the grouse grind?
Oh God,
Like, is it
not.
a stair?
No.
You can only go up the grouse grind. You can't come down it. You can only go
Right.
up, and then
But could you ride up the grouse grind if you
No.
wanted to try?
No.
You can't.
No.
There's no way.
No. Well, you
No.
could if
Well,
you wanted
isn't
to
it
try,
all
but
like
you'd be
stairs?
hopping 99% of the way. Yeah, it's
Right.
stairs. So you'd be hopping your way up the grind. Yeah. So no.
You would die trying to do it, even if you had the technical ability to do it.
I want to ride my bike over the Malahat, but my wife doesn't want me to do it.
Why not?
Whoa. Brave man.
You letting her tell you what to do? Are you letting her tell you how to run your life? You know what you can do? You can just go up to her face and you say, "Hey, I will not do that ever again. I'll just go and lie down." after riding my bike out. Oh, thank you. Thank you, everybody. My next show is at 4 p.m. and try the veal. There's a little house cleaning that I have to take care of for our channel. Next
Dave, you're
sorry.
fired.
You're fired, Dave. You suck. 2 weeks from now, we will be firing Dave a lot and over and over and over again. But 2 weeks from now, we will be in Victoria. I will be in Victoria. I don't know about Dave, but we'll be going to the Vancouver. We're going to the Great Canadian Beer Festival in Victoria, not Vancouver. And yeah, so I want to try and do some live streaming from our adventures while there. It'll be very
Really?
cool. Totally.
Okay.
But one problem is that around the same time, we might not be able to stream from our YouTube apps like we can now, because YouTube's changing this thing you see in front of you right now is actually shifting to a different system of some sort, which I've been trying to figure out because they announced it yesterday and I haven't quite figured it out yet. But essentially, yeah, so who knows? But otherwise, I think with that in mind, we'll have to start a Periscope account off of our Twitter account and do it that way. So that way we can make fun of Dave remotely, live, and tell Dave to stick it in his ear. Because that's how awesome we are. So anyway, there you go. House cleaning done. Because Dave's not coming to the thing that Alan and I are going to. So I don't know what to tell you other than you suck, Dave.
And hopefully
all
we
your
can
fault.
stay sober long enough that we can actually record these things.
We have footage from last year that when I did review it, I realized that we probably should not put it on the internet because some of the stuff we talked about really made. It wasn't bad. It just didn't make any sense. Like, we don't make a lot of sense here. Picture that 10 times worse. So yeah. We'll try again this year as well, and we'll see. I don't know. We might interview some people we think are cool. So who knows? And Dave, I'd like you to explain to our listening audience why you're not going. Thanks for that report, Dave. Back
You're a cock knocker. That's why.
Because Dave lives up island in Black Creek, which is admittedly probably about a 3 and a half hour drive to Victoria.
Yeah, it's about
So
that.
I mean, it's a significant amount of travel, even though Shane is traveling for longer. But um, and Dave, he works, and he's afraid to ask his boss for a day off so he can come to this event.
Because
That's right.
immediately afterwards, I'm already getting 2 weeks. Let's not forget that little detail,
Yeah. Well, yeah.
which is
Uh,
actually more than I
so what's
can
an extra day?
take off.
Like, what's an extra day? Seriously, you're already getting 2 weeks. Why don't you get a real job where you can actually get some significant time, dude? I get almost 7 weeks a year.
Okay, that's bullshit.
Let me just
All
tell you one
right.
thing, Dave. One very important reality that I think you're totally missing.
And that is.
That's pretty much it, man. That's all you need to know when you're Canadian. That's all you need to know, man. On that note, thank you, God. Please eat the deal. On that note, I think we'll wrap it up this week. I want to tell you thank you for coming back. Thank you for sticking with us, and thank you for checking us out. And spread the word. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. Check us out on the Facebook thing.
Yeah.
We have a page there, right? I can't
Yeah,
remember.
we do. Actually, you
Excellent.
know what? People look at it quite a lot, even though we don't put anything on it and really haven't used it for anything. I get notifications that people are looking at it regularly, and especially on Wednesdays when we do our podcast. If I go on Facebook right now, I bet you we'll have new viewers or readers or whatever.
Sounds awesome to me. Cool. We will see you guys next week. Don't forget to, as I said, spread the word and check us out on the thing. And eventually, Locke will return. But I think, just today. Let me think. What's the date today? This is the
24th.
24th
24th.
of things. So
August.
He started. Sorry, I was doing the math. I was trying to remember when he started.
2016.
I'm out. No, he started school 2 days ago in Florida, so he had to be there for the 22nd of opening stuff. So there you go. So
Cool.
eventually he'll
Wow.
pop back, and he has promised that he will give us a full report on any local Floridian beers that enter into the craft market. And he's also, as he has promised me, just to me, that he will find the Swamp Ape beer and try it out and give us his review on the show because it's terrible. Thank you again, everybody, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye!